Vaelen Moonwhisper. The dust motes danced in the single shaft of light piercing the observatory dome. I, Vaelen Duskthorn, though most call me Moonwhisper, traced the constellations etched onto the glass, a habit born of years spent charting the unseen currents that ripple beyond our world. My work wasn't about stars, not precisely. It was about the echoes between them, the resonances that hinted at realms folded into our own. For generations, my family has been ether scouts, charting these pathways. But the charts, they've been growing silent. The currents, fading. Old Man Tiber, the last true navigator, claimed the clockwork heart, the source of all etheric energy, was faltering. He spoke of a dissonance, a shadow falling across the mechanism. He died before he could tell me where to look, leaving only a fragmented verse and a growing dread. That verse, it spoke of a lost city, submerged not in water, but in stillness. A city called Viridia, and a key made of captured moonlight. That night, staring into the swirling nebula, I knew my quiet life of observation was over. I had to find Viridia, and somehow, rekindle the clockwork heart. The journey to the stillness sea was fraught with more than just navigational challenges. The fading ether meant the usual shortcuts were unstable, throwing my skyship, the Stardust Drifter, into unpredictable currents. Each jump was a gamble. I encountered others seeking the same elusive city, scavengers, driven mad by the dwindling ether, and silent, spectral guardians who seemed to be the stillness itself. One such encounter, a skirmish with a group of void reavers near the Obsidian Reef, forced me to make repairs using salvaged clockwork components from a derelict scout ship. The irony wasn't lost on me, patching my vessel with pieces of a forgotten past. Along the way, I deciphered more of Tiber's verse, realizing that Key of Moonlight wasn't a physical object, but a resonance frequency, a specific harmonic that could unlock Viridia's hidden shield. I needed to find a singing stone, a rare crystal capable of amplifying etheric vibrations. Legend said one lay hidden within the sunken gardens, a place teeming with bioluminescent flora and guarded by creatures born of shadow and light. The gardens were beautiful, terrifying, and held a power I could feel thrumming in my bones. I found the singing stone, pulsating with a soft, ethereal glow, but claiming it wasn't easy. A creature, a Lumiflora guardian, a being woven from living light and thorny vines, challenged me. Not with brute force, but with illusions, forcing me to confront my deepest fears, the fear of failure, the fear of losing the ether, the fear of becoming like the silent, empty husks I'd seen drifting in the void. I fought not with weapons, but with understanding, resonating with the guardian's own sorrow, acknowledging its duty to protect the stone. It yielded, not defeated, but accepting. Back on the Stardust Drifter, I tuned the singing stone to the frequency deciphered from Tiber's verse. The stillness sea shimmered, and a city rose from the depths, Viridia, breathtaking in its silent grandeur, a metropolis frozen in time. Within its crystal spires, I found the clockwork heart, not a physical heart, but a colossal, intricate mechanism, its gears slowing, its light dimming. I adjusted the central regulator, using the singing stone to amplify the etheric flow. The gears began to turn, slowly at first, then with increasing speed. Light flooded the city, and I felt a surge of energy ripple through me, through the Stardust Drifter, through the very fabric of reality. I had done it. I had rekindled the clockwork heart. But the surge, it wasn't what I expected. The light wasn't warm, revitalizing. It was brittle, strained. The gears of the clockwork heart were spinning too fast, straining against their moorings. The restored ether wasn't flowing smoothly, but surging, unstable. Viridia itself began to crumble, the restored energy tearing at its ancient structures. I realized my mistake. I hadn't repaired the clockwork heart, I'd merely forced it to function. The dissonance Tiber spoke of wasn't a lack of energy, but an imbalance, a fractured harmony. The city wasn't meant to be fully restored, but to exist in a state of delicate equilibrium. My actions had disrupted that balance. The ether, now surging uncontrollably, was creating fissures in reality, opening gateways to something else. Shadows flickered at the edges of my vision, whispers echoed on the wind. I had unleashed a force I didn't understand, and Viridia, and perhaps the entire realm, was on the brink of collapse. With Viridia crumbling around me, I recalibrated the singing stone, not to amplify the ether, but to contain it, to dampen the surging energy. It was a desperate gamble, a deliberate slowing of the clockwork heart, a return to the delicate imbalance. It worked, but at a cost. The restored light faded, the city settled into a deeper stillness, its grandeur diminished. The fissures closed, the shadows receded, but the clockwork heart remained fragile, its future uncertain. I left Viridia, not as a savior, but as a caretaker, bound to monitor the city, to maintain the precarious balance. The experience changed me. I understood that some things aren't meant to be fixed, but to be respected, to be understood in their brokenness. The ether is fading still, but it's fading slowly, gracefully. And perhaps, that is enough. My work as an ether scout isn't about restoring what was lost, but about learning to live with what remains, and finding beauty in the silence between the stars. I am Vaelen Moonwhisper, and I will continue to listen, to watch, and to remember the fragile heart of a dying world.